Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Aaron.
Aaron is here. Welcome back, everyone, for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Oh my God, I've been trying to get my hands on this new leak for years. I have never understood why it has been so hard to get my hands on what I'm about to share with you. Scientology basically has a Facebook of its enemies that it has produced. The list I'm going to share with you, and I call it a Facebook because it's literally a book of faces. It's a book of photographs of its enemies that it has published centrally, not locally produced, centrally published and distributed this list, this book, this Facebook of photos of its enemies to all Scientology organizations. Now, I want to say in the world, but I'm not totally sure this is not just for the United States. I don't know. I don't mind sharing with you that the leak that I have is from the United States. So for any of you former staff members or under the radar Scientologists or staff members in Europe or the other continents, if you've got your own Scientology enemies, SPs, Facebooks in your orgs, please let me know. You can reach me at growingupinscientology@gmail.com. I told you guys, we've got more under the radar staff member, Sea Org member connections leaking information than ever before. And the evidence of that is what I'm about to share with you. Now, the Facebook, they call it the Rouge Gallery. I'm not even making that up. Here's the Rouge Gallery. Okay, now here's how this works. Okay, they have the one centrally produced Rouge Gallery book that looks like it could be about a couple years old. Based on the photos they have in there of me and Mark Headley, I'm guessing this particular publication is a couple years old. But what the local orgs also have is big fat binders where they update the list. Okay, and their Rouge Gallery binder it's like a big 3-ring binder that every org has. Inside of it, they stick the booklet that international management sent them, and they add to it. Now, I'm going to share with you the pages. It's 44 pages, and I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to share with you the centrally produced one. The reason I don't want to share with you the photos I have of the pages of the locally produced one is because it's locally produced, I don't want to give Scientology any hints for where this particular leak came from. Also, the updates for the locally produced ones has the streamers, the TikTokers, the YouTubers like Streets and Jessica and Confident Chris, but it also has like all of their car information and their license plate information. And I'm not going to share that with you. But after I share with you all the ones from the centrally produced Rouge Gallery, I am at least, without screen sharing it with you, going to pull up all the other pages and at least tell you who's in it. Because it's got a lot of people I've never even heard of. And even the centrally produced one has a lot of people I've never heard of, which is pretty interesting. Okay, so, and I'll share it with you in another video, but there's so much happening right now in the Scientology world that's being leaked that just I know is going to drive David Miscavige absolutely crazy, which is why I want to keep putting out videos about it. What's being announced at the New Year's event, the new materials, the staff briefings that are occurring. I got it all, guys. I just got to figure out how to give it to you in the best way that's not going to reveal any of the many sources. Okay, so let's start going down Rouge Gallery Lane, ladies and gentlemen. So page number 1, Rouge Gallery. Page 2, Picketers, Protesters. And strangely enough, guys, this does not have any of the streamers from the last year because this is the centrally produced one. Okay, Chris Curtin. I find it interesting. I am almost positive they have misspelled Chris Curtin's name. But it says Chris. I met Chris when I was out in LA for the Danny Masterson trial. And actually, Chris has even come out here to Clearwater. I've met Chris here in Clearwater. It says Chris Curtin is a comedian from the LA area who has been involved in anti-Scientology articles and videos. He is known to be associated with other church attackers. My, how terrible. Okay, let's see. Page 4. Don Myers, a.k.a. the Angry Not Straight Pope. I'm not sure if I can say those 3 words together without being censored and censured by YouTube. But the Angry Not Straight Pope. Many of you will already know who Don is. It says Don Myers is a local to the LA area. He's known for going into orgs, wearing a mask, and yelling loudly to create distractions. He refers to himself as the angry, not straight Pope, as he frequently will wear masks and a large mitre, a religious hat worn by certain clergy members. He has a restraining order against any churches of Scientology inside California. Okay, page 5, the one and only Tori Chrisman, Tori Magoo. Tori is local to the LA area, but is known to travel to other states. She has repeatedly attempted to infiltrate orgs and pretended to be a new public or Scientologist in good standing in order to attend events or cause interbulation. Generally, she will also be filming or attempt to take pictures inside the org. There you go, Tori, you're in there. Okay, I've never heard of this next fellow. Adam Michael Kratt, aka Michael Kratt. It says, Adam Michael Kratt is local to LA. He is not known to travel to other orgs, but has been actively protesting the church for more than 10 years. He's made multiple violent threats to staff and was arrested for assaulting a church security guard. See, how come I haven't heard of this guy? And for any of you out there who can do like immediate internet research, if there's any way to find when did this occur, the incident that they're talking about, when did Adam Michael Kratt get arrested for something with a Sea Org security guard? It says he is known to provoke violence and try to get reactions out of those he is protesting. He plays a significant role in getting others to get involved in protests and attacking Scientology. Do not try to handle him yourselves. Call the police immediately if he comes onto the property and inform him of this. I don't know what that means. Hold on, let me get my microphone a little bit closer to me. Okay. It says, pictured below with Nathaniel Thomas and one other. Yep, Nathaniel Thomas, known as Nasty Nathaniel, a guy I consider to be a friend. He has his own entry in this book, but there you go. Nasty Nate, you got an honorable mention with Adam Michael Kratt. Page 7, here he is, Nathaniel Thomas Plotner, aka Nate Thomas. They don't even give him his most favorite name, which is Nasty Nathaniel. It says Nathaniel is known to visit churches in many areas. He's been to orgs including Seattle, LA, Detroit, Chicago. He's very recognizable for his many tattoos all over his body and wearing the same clothing at almost all times. Why do they got to say that? Okay. He typically wears a black driving cap and black combat boots. He ordinarily will have multiple cameras recording at the same time. As of March 2021, he has long hair and has put on excessive weight. Shots fired. Shots fired. Why do they got to run a man down like that? When I was first going through this list and I saw the note where it says as of March 2021, I was like, my God, could this publication be as old as March 2021? And then when they got to my page, they used a photo from May 2022. So we know it's at least as recent as May 2022. Okay, next page. Yvonne Taylor, aka Spanky Taylor. All right, so most people who watch my channel should know who Spanky Taylor is. She was prominently featured in the documentary Going Clear. I think I've interviewed Spanky on my channel before. I can't be 100% sure. I for sure have featured some excerpts of a podcast that Spanky did with, how am I going to go blank on his name? Who's the dirty job? Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe. Super famous guy. Everyone knows who Mike Rowe is. If you look him up, you've seen a TV show with him. Spanky's got a business where she handles correspondence and fan clubs for major A-list celebrities. And one of her clients is Mike Rowe. And Mike did an amazing podcast episode with Spanky where they talked all about Scientology. Mike Rowe's actually done a bunch of Scientology content. And if I haven't interviewed Spanky myself, I've at least used a lot of the clips of the podcast appearances that she's done. Okay. It says Sylvia. Why is it saying Sylvia? Anyway, what it says is Sylvia and her husband, Jesse. Oh, this is a mistake. They've made a mistake here. They've included a paragraph about Jesse Prince and his wife, Sylvia, mismatched it with a photo of Spanky Taylor. Okay, well, anyway, it says Sylvia and her husband, Jesse Prince, are longtime church attackers. They were last seen driving around orgs in Los Angeles in November of 2020. Okay, Spanky, I'm sorry. They overlooked something here. Let's keep going. This is a guy I've never heard of. Javier Hernandez. Javier is a local to Los Angeles, but is known to go to other orgs and protest under the guise of doing a First Amendment audit. He's a heavy-set Hispanic male with a large beard. He's very aggressive in his behavior and will attempt to instigate fights and confrontations. He's usually with at least one other person. Javier is the top photo. The bottom photos are some of his associates. Again, that seems to be a mistake. They all seem to be Javier, although to be honest, I can't make out the face of the guy in the bottom photo. Guys, who the heck is Javier Hernandez? And if this booklet is 2.5 years, it's about 2 years old, how come I don't know who Javier Hernandez is, guys? If anyone has links to his videos, feel free to post them in the live chat or in the comments section below. Congratulations, Javier. You made the Rogues Gallery list. Okay, this is another person I've never heard of. It says Zoe Perez, a.k.a. Furry Potato. Gotta love the name. It says Zoe Perez, pronounced Zoe, is a transgender who has protested at a number of Scientology orgs, often referring to herself as Furry Potato, her internet moniker. Zoe has protested at a number of orgs in California. I refuse to say churches, you guys, if I can help it. Zoe is connected to other First Amendment auditors. Guys, how come I never heard of Zoe? Where Furry Potato? I mean, you gotta love that name. Bring back the Furry Potato. I mean, hey, that's what some of my haters like to call me, is Mr. Potato Head. So I welcome potatoes of all genders and ethnicities, and come on back, Furry Potato. Okay. The next section is called threats. Now that's weird. Like, what was the first section called? Let's go back to it real quick. It just said Picketers, protesters, Rogues Gallery. Okay, so I guess threats are people who are a threat but aren't actively protesters. So let's see who we got. Again, I never heard of this dude. Rick Resch. Ricky Resch is a psychotic. Guys, this is Scientology's words, not mine. Ricky Resch is a psychotic who was incarcerated for threats of physical harm against another person. He is delusional and not okay to be on any org lines. I love how they have to specify that. Not okay to do Scientology courses and auditing. Guys, none of these people are okay to do Scientology courses and auditing. I don't know. Who are you, Ricky? Where are you? And where'd you go? Well, I guess it sounds like maybe you were never a protester, but okay. Brandon Riesdorf. Brandon is someone who's well known in the former Scientology world. The Riesdorf family is extremely well known. His mother, Lois, is one of the people who used to work with L. Ron Hubbard directly, with Janice Grady and her sisters. Okay, so, and Brandon is one of her sons who had he had some mental illness struggles, and did unfortunately get into a little bit of legal trouble with respect to some Scientology locations. Let's see what they actually say about him. Brandon Riesdorf is a type 3. Oh, I love it when they use the lingo. I'll explain what type 3 means in a moment. Brandon Riesdorf is a type 3 who has made multiple violent threats towards Scientology staff and public. Brandon has also been arrested for felony vandalism of church property. He is non sequitur is communication. The irony of Scientology having a non sequitur sentence trying to describe Brandon Riesdorf as being non sequitur. Okay, I'll just read it as written. He is non sequitur is communication and has been deemed 5150 crazy by the police. Wow. Scientology don't think very highly of anyone with any mental illness troubles. Type 3 in Scientology is actually just slang for calling someone crazy, psycho. What it literally means is potential trouble source type 3. PTS type 1. Many of you guys who watch a lot of Scientology content, you've heard of PTS types A to J. We don't talk as much about PTS type 1 to 3. PTS type 1 means that the person that is suppressing you is in the physical universe present environment. Type 2 means that the person that's suppressing you is from a past life, but something in present time is just restimulating a past life source of suppression. And in order to resolve the PTS condition, you have to resolve it with past life auditing. PTS type 3 is a worse version of type 2, where literally everything in your environment is restimulating some sort of past life suppression, and you hallucinate, you see things, you're literally having a psychotic break, you're disassociated, you're out of present time. And type 3 in Scientology, when a Scientologist has a psychotic break, they say they went type 3. Okay, so that's what they accused Brandon of. If I'm not mistaken, you guys can fact check me on this. I think at one point Brandon had some sort of a breakdown. I believe he threw a hammer through one of the windows at the Los Angeles org, and that is what got him arrested. And of course, Scientology made hay about all that. But the way that Scientology has utterly destroyed the Restore family is just one more, yet another hugely unfortunate example of how Scientology is a multi-billion-dollar international family-destroying human trafficking cult. Okay, so that's Brandon Reesdorf. Again, remember, we're in the threats section, you guys. Okay, another guy that I've never heard of, Andreas Andrew Hanau, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Who's this fine-looking fellow we got here? Andres is suspected of recent physical threats made against Scientology, including possible explosion threats. I'm just being careful with my language here, guys. He's not allowed on the property, and if seen near any Scientology location, 911 is to be called right away. Andres was last known to be living in his vehicle, also pictured. All right. Luke Diongason. Never heard of this guy. Luke is a type 3 from Sacramento that was recently found to be living on the streets in the Hollywood area. He was previously arrested for breaking several windows at the Sacramento org. Oh, I might have heard about that. Okay. Here's another fellow that I've never heard of. Jarius Godeka. Or maybe it's pronounced Yarius, but I'm going to go with Jarius. Rhymes with my brother's name, Darius. Okay. Jarius Godeka is a violent psychotic who was previously arrested due to crimes against Scientology. Should he be seen, police are to be informed immediately. All right. Yep. Never heard of this guy. Brian Schulman. Okay. And guys, please let me know in the live chat or in the comments section. Is Brian Schulman a part of the Schulman Scientology family? Ben Schulman is a second-gen Scientologist, featured prominently in Danny Masterson's Circle and his crimes against Scientologist women and other women. Brian, the Schulmans, see, I just don't know if Brian Schulman is part of the Schulman family, but if he is, his mother was one of my seniors in the C organization. Nikki Schulman, one of Ben Schulman's brothers, was involved in the whole scandal that Scientology covered up of Sergio Belinsky blowing his hands off with a pipe bomb. The Schulman family was wrapped up in all of that. So anyway, please let me know, guys, is Brian Schulman part of the Scientology Schulman family? Okay, it says here, Brian Schulman, this man recently came to an org and tried to cause physical harm by throwing a fire-starting device at it. I don't know what that means, but he probably threw a firecracker at an org or something, because a fire-starting device. All right, anyway, Philip Jarrett Anderson, another guy I've never heard of, you guys. Philip Jarrett Anderson. Jarrett, oh, I see. Like, he goes by Jarrett, but it's probably not his first name. Okay, Jarrett is a former Scientology staff member. Go Jarrett! All right. Former Scientology staff member from long ago who vandalized multiple org properties in late 2018. He was arrested and convicted for this and has a restraining order against our location as well as several other Scientology locations. He is suspected to be an alcoholic, is currently on probation, and was last known to be living out of his car. Okay. Very interesting. All right, next, David Enteman. David Enteman has previously made serious attempts of physical damage towards Scientology. He was in prison for 15 years due to this and now lives in Florida. Again, never heard of David Enteman. Zach Shawkins. Zach is a former public who is labeled He is now type 3 and homeless. Zach has gotten physically aggressive in the past, and the police were called on him. Okay, never heard of him. Attempted infiltration. This is interesting. Aaron Hodges Plum. Guys, this is a blast from the past. I haven't heard of Aaron in what feels like a year and a half now. Aaron, where did you go? She used to be in all of the live chats. Aaron Hodges Plum. Aaron Rodgers. Why does it call her Aaron Rodgers in the paragraph when at the top it says her name is Aaron Hodges Plum? I knew her as Aaron Plum. Aaron Rodgers is local to Southern California. She has a history of infiltrating org events and activities while recording and protesting Scientology publicly. She is known to visit orgs when she travels out of state. All right, there you go, Aaron. Congratulations. You made the list. Ross Blotcher. Now, I do not actually know the right way to pronounce Ross's last name, but he had a podcast where they actually infiltrated Scientology in Los Angeles, and they did a whole series about it. It was amazing. Okay, so I'm going to say, how do I going to say this? Ross Blotcher. I'll say Blotcher. Okay, Ross Blotcher is an online media personality who investigates various religions. He's made multiple attempts to come to Scientology events in order to get information. He is familiar with the vernacular of Scientology and tries to trick people into thinking he is a Scientologist in order to get into orgs and events. He works closely with Carrie Poppy, who co-hosts their podcasts. He will frequently be recording and or taking photos inside the building. Wow, why did a photo of him with Mickey Mouse? Like the weirdest photos they use. Okay. Carrie Poppy is Ross's co-host. Carrie Poppy is an online media personality who investigates various religions. She's made multiple attempts to come to Scientology events in order to get information, as well as orgs to get tours. She's familiar with the vernacular of Scientology and tries to trick people into thinking she's a Scientologist in order to gain access. She works closely with Ross Blotcher, who co-hosts their podcasts. She's known to frequently change her hair color and style. Oh, she's a chameleon. She will frequently be recording and or taking photos inside the building. Okay, there you go. We next have a guy I've never heard of, Chris Cowie. Chris is a former member of Scientology who was found to be on drugs and delusional. He's attempted to get on lines at multiple orgs in the United States and claims that he has a map which he is following. All right, never heard of him, guys. Nicole Harvey Gibson. Again, never heard of her. Nicole Gibson is a convicted criminal found trying to get on lines at several orgs in the LA area. Upon being found out, she fled the area. Her current whereabouts are unknown. She's wanted in the state of Florida. All right. I have to take your word for it. Don't know who she is. The Mango. Stephen Mango made the list. Are we in the threats list? I forget. Are we still in the threats list? Oh, no. Attempted infiltration. Okay. Stephen Mango, as I like to call him, the Mango. Okay. Stephen Mango is an anti-Scientologist who's associated with other people who are against Scientology. He should not be allowed on the property. He has attempted to infiltrate orgs in the past, as well as participated in protests against Scientology. All right. The media section, you guys. I was blessed and honored to be included in the media section. And as you can see, this is in no particular order, as you will figure out here. Okay. Number one, Tony Ortega. Tony Ortega is an investigative journalist and online blogger who frequently attempts to infiltrate Scientology orgs by sending in plants or people to record or steal information from the organization. He is closely associated with several Scientology attackers who have made documentaries and or TV shows. You've got Tony and his wife, Ariel Silverstein. Aaron made the list, folks. This is how I figured out that this list is probably about 2 years old. Because of the photos that they used. So it says Aaron Smith-Levin. Aaron Smith-Levin is a former Scientologist who is now a declared SP. He's been involved with making documentaries against Scientology and is connected with many church attackers, pictured with his wife, Heather, below. Okay, so we got 4 photos all pulled from my Facebook. And the photo on the top right with me and Heather, that's at a Paul McCartney concert. that I went to in May 2022, courtesy of my friend Paul Davies. So thank you, Paul. The show ended up being featured in photo from the show ended up being featured in Scientology's Rogues Gallery. And that is the most recent photo of those 4 photos. Actually, I take it back. That other photo of me on the bottom left looks like it could be more recent. I'm going to have to go find that photo and check out the date. Okay, next in the media section, we have Alex Gibney. Alex Gibney is a director who works for HBO. Guys, can you imagine Scientology sending out a photo of Alex freaking Gibney to every org in at least the US, being like, if this man ever enters the building, like Alex Gibney is going to try to go into a freaking Scientology org. It's so silly. Alex Gibney is a director who works for HBO and specializes in documentaries. He's known to be antagonistic towards Scientology and is not welcome at any Scientology property. Okay, next we have Larry Wright, Lawrence Wright. Lawrence Wright is a writer-producer who helped to create a documentary against Scientology. He is not welcome at any church property. I mean, in case anybody doesn't know, Lawrence Wright is the one who wrote the book Going Clear, and then Alex Gibney produced the documentary Going Clear based on the book and the people in the book, and interviewed many of the people who are in the book. Okay. Chris Shelton. Chris Shelton is a former Scientologist who is a declared suppressive person. He's written books on Scientology as well as regularly participates in protests of the church. That bottom photo of Chris almost looks like Ben Stiller, actually. Okay, Phil and Willie Jones made the list. Congratulations, Phil and Willie. Phil and Willie Jones are former Scientologists who regularly participate in protests against Scientology, as well as attempts to come in and pretend they are interested in Scientology. They are known to reside near Denver, Colorado. I don't think they live in Denver anymore. So actually, even that piece of information might help date when this book was put together. We know it's somewhere around 2 years, but I'm wondering, we know it's not more than 2.5 years old, but how recent? I want to figure out how recent could this thing be? When did Phil and Willie move out of Denver? Or do they still live in Denver? And I'm just confused. Okay. It says they are known to reside in near Denver, however, frequently travel out of state to participate in anti-Scientology events. I find it interesting that they don't include additional information, such as Phil and Willie's daughter, Emily, is a Sea Org member working at Galaxy Press and is married to another very senior Scientology Sea Org member. Now, I will tell you that in the local updates that they do include extra information like that. Some of that information is actually handwritten, which is one of the reasons I'm not going to be sharing it, because Scientology will identify at least what org the leak came from if they can see handwritten notes made by a local staff member. Okay, Phil and Willie, congratulations, you made the list. Mark and Claire Headley. Okay, Mark Headley is a declared suppressive person. He's closely associated with other known anti-Scientologists. Claire Headley is the wife of Mark Headley. They will often be found together. Now, the photo that they're using of Mark here on the top left, I also found the date of that photo is January 2019. That photo is actually from one of the times that we were all getting ready to go on a cruise with a bunch of the families. And me and Mark were wandering around New Orleans, and we randomly just stumbled through the set of NCIS. And I don't watch that show, but Mark knew Mark watched the show. He knew the actors. And so you can't tell, the selfie that we're taking has the star of the show right behind us. So there you go. Good times, good times. Okay, Mike Rinder and Christy Colbrin. Mike Rinder is a former Scientologist who is now against Scientology. Imagine just referring to Mike Rinder as a former Scientologist. Mike is connected up with other anti-Scientologists and slanted media and attempted to interview staff in public as recently as January 2020 in Los Angeles. All righty. Leah Remini. Leah Remini is a former Scientologist who has made, imagine having to tell Scientologists who Leah Remini is. Okay. Leah Remini is a former Scientologist who's made TV shows against Scientology, pictured here with her husband, Angelo, and their daughter, Sophia. All right, there you go. Mark Ebner, Michelle Biscotti, aka Pikachu. All right. Mark Ebner and his wife, Michelle Biscotti, are known to live in the LA area and are anti-Scientology journalists. Okay. Karen de la Carriere and Jeff Augustine, congratulations. You made the list. Is Jeff in the chat by any chance? Karen de la Carriere and her husband, Jeff Augustine, are known anti-Scientologists who frequently attempt to infiltrate and disrupt Scientology activities. Now, that's just not fair. When has Jeff or Karen attempted to infiltrate an org or an event? Not that it matters, but it's like, anyway. Okay. Let's see. Brian Seymour. Brian Seymour is an Australian news journalist who's done anti-Scientology pieces in the past and came around PAC with Mike Rinder in January 2020. PAC, of course, is an acronym for that Scientology uses to refer to all the organizations on L. Ron Hubbard Way. Okay, we're getting to the end. Type 3s and org hoppers. There's only a couple here. Remember, guys, type 3 is just Scientology words for a crazy psycho. Okay, type 3s and org hoppers. Anthony Perlas. Okay, I mean, they're really doing this dude some favors. I don't know who this is, but he looks like a Samoan Greek god. Like, who is this guy? It says Anthony. I know you can't be Samoan and Greek, you guys. I'm just, you know, I'm you know, just whatever. Anthony. Anthony Perlas has attempted to get on several org lines in the US. By the way, how come they didn't use good photos of me, like good photos like this of me? You know, like freaking glamour shots, like on the goddamn beach. It's ridiculous. Anthony Perlas has attempted to get on several org lines in the US. He is overstimulated, claims he works for the media, is a private investigator as well as a photographer. So let's use the most attractive photos we could find of him on the entire internet and put it in this book. There you go, guys. Scientology's rogue gallery thirst trap is Anthony Perlas. Never heard of him. Okay, Robin Schwarzenhauer. Again, never heard of him. Where do these people come from? Robin Schwarzenhauer. Robin is a type 3 who has traveled to multiple orgs across the US. He is known to be a drug user and has been arrested in several states. Well, there you go. All right. And let's see, let me just change my view here. That might be the last. That is the last of it. That is absolutely the last of it. Okay, I told you that was the official spiral bound professionally produced list from management. Now, I'm not going to actually share the images with you, but I will pull up who they put into the TikToker protester section of the locally compiled Rogues Gallery. Give me just a moment here. Okay, local binder. Okay, I'll close this one first. And then let's do this. Open, but I'm not going to screen share these because I'm just afraid there might be some identifying aspects to these particular pages that even I might not be aware of. Okay. The TikToker Rogues Gallery. There's a word here I can't read, but TikToker Rogues Gallery. And again, and some of these people I have not heard of. So there's a woman here, a photo. And by the way, all the photos in this section are surveillance photos from security cameras. And this one is a woman named Damaris Rivera. Okay. And then, of course, we have Sergio, one of the OG Hollywood protesters. Again, I don't know if I want to say their last names. I don't know if Sergio ever went public with his last name, but Sergio, you made the list, and they've got photos of your motorcycle and your car and your license plates and security camera photos and everything. So congratulations, Sergio. Confident. No, this is Chris without a Hellcat. So Chris, it's got your full first name and your last name here. It doesn't actually have any car or license plate info for you here, but gives your full name. And there you go. Chris without a Hellcat, you made the list. Congrats. The next one is the one and only Confident Chris. He's in here. And then we have Yvonne Doer, Dougher. Yvonne Doer says she's a supporter of Streets LA, William Good. I never heard of her, but that's okay. We have another person, Jenna Marie Moore, says something about TikTok. It's a little hard for me to read that, actually. Aja, Hollywood Aja made the list. Congratulations, Aja. Makes a point of identifying her as transgender, and just has some shots from her live streams. Okay. And then we have Samantha Barreto. It's got your car information, your license plate information. It says what you go by on TikTok, and it's got some security surveillance photos of Samantha. Congratulations, you made the list. And then there's a whole bunch of people that they don't seem. They've got Danny, but it's not the protester Danny. It's someone else. They've got Eric Levi, and they've got a bunch of screenshots of faces of people for whom they don't have names. But yeah, more screenshots of people who they don't have names for. And then there's Jessica Palmadessa, of course. Jessica, you made the list. Okay, let's read. Jessica attempted to infiltrate several orgs in 2023, Los Angeles and New York. She's a prankster and a main organizer of the TikToker group. It says what you drive and your license plate and all that stuff. And then there's William Good, says the main organizer of the TikToker group. Okay. And that is actually it. That's it. I don't know why other people, streamers, protesters that many of you would know and recognize are not yet in the list. Or also, to be honest, it's just possible that I don't have photos of all of the pages. But there we go. That's it. That's the big reveal for right now. Let's go through some of the starred comments and see what we got, guys. Kelsey Arellano. Aaron, I finally caught alive. I almost fought YouTube. Welcome, Kelsey. Glad to have you here. Lisa Thornton. Does anyone remember which earbuds Aaron uses? Yes, let me see if I have them here or they're charging. I use the Raycons. If you're going to get some Raycons, use my custom link, buyraycon.com/SPTV. Thank you, Lisa. A388. Why did Osa and L. Ron Hubbard open a detective agency? Because they were great at solving mysteries, like how to lose all your followers and make a ton of money doing it. Shit Turd says, if you ain't on some sort of list, you ain't doing it right. Vanessa Winbury, a bahaha on the Rogues Gallery. Xenu TV, ooh, I hope I made the list. Destiny Salazar, welcome. Thank you for being a member for 7 months, Destiny. Classic Aaron content recently. I love it. Thank you very much. Shitturd, is this like the Burn book off of Mean Girls? Yeah, it is kind of like that. Kylie, David Miscavige is literally Regina George. A Burn book and everything. Kelsey says, that's my 2025 resolution. Get into this binder. Bonus points if they reference my height. Just a Northern Girl, CIA agent extraordinaire. Tori. Michael Andreas, SGV is a First Amendment auditor. All right. Jody Who, Javier is a First Amendment auditor. I know who he is. Okay, now I'm getting it. Watch the Honor Your Oath channel. Aaron just sent you an email with a video that I believe is from Javier Hernandez. Oh, AKA SGV News. Oh, okay. Has an amazing interaction with Scientology staff from 2018. Great. Cursed Elmo, Scientology has their dirty fingers in every pie. Jody Who, so funny, I'm familiar with most of these people. They're First Amendment auditors and streamers. Okay. Ken Grover, I wonder if they have a binder of local non-Scientologists that they love. Public nuisance, lots of homeless people on that list. Bina Beck 33. They sure do piss off a lot of people. Dave's Deep Dives. Good to see you, Dave. Maybe Scientology should make a set of Rogue Gallery playing cards like the US military did in the Iraq War. Yes. The thing is, they don't actually, they should give a deck of cards like that to security guards who stand around all day and could be flipping through those cards. That being said, just because there's a book like this, they don't actually want all the staff members seeing this book. This book is mostly for people who hold reception, where any of these people might try to come into an org. And I guess people who go out and do Div 6 activities like trying to sell books to Raw Public out on the street or body route Raw Public from the street. If I had to guess, I would say that those people are also, who are required to go through this book. But yeah, whether it's a book or whether it's a deck of cards, they don't actually want to widely distribute this information. Julia O'Connor says, I would not put it past OSA to have books in every org about suppressive people. Degraded Daughter, when I grow up, I want to make it on this list. Good to see you, Alicia. Shit turd, everyone's delusional, according to them. Yep. Love Maddie, if Scientology has nothing to hide, why would they have any issues with anyone going into their orgs, answering questions, etc., or care if they're going to their events? Because it's a cult. Eat More Pizza Now. David, many thanks to those who obtained the pictures. Yes, thank you very much. Lori Plays, protests. Since when has Shelton protested? I think they had Chris in there under the media section, if I recall correctly. Old Frizz, you're talking about what they said about him in the book. I think Chris must have, remember, Chris has been doing this for a long time. I think he must have at one point gone to a protest, maybe like in the Minnesota area. I think he did. Old Frizz, funny, they don't seem to refer to YouTube channels. Exactly. That is interesting, isn't it? Now, if you guys remember, it's actually only been about a couple years since I've been like energetically putting up content on this channel. Like I started the channel about 9 years ago, and I did a bunch of content over the years, but not like aggressively like I've been doing for the last couple years. And it's possible that this book was produced just over 2 years ago. Constance June, Scientology not up to date on their info. Surprising, not. Confident Chris is in the chat. Good to see you, Chris. This should be an award book. Absolutely. Abigail, thank you for gifting 5 channel memberships. Much appreciated. And Abigail says, Merry belated Christmas, Aaron. You did not need to showcase my gifts, but thank you. I'm just happy you liked them. With family, but wanted to stop in and sprinkle some birthday memberships. Peace. Thank you, Abigail. Much appreciated. Duchess Diana, good to see you. The photos are all so nice. They don't try to hide how happy the exes are. That's true. The photos like of me and Headley was of us having a good times. Corey L, does Scientology stockpile weapons? Always heard about guards with machine guns on the free wins. My gut answer to this is no, they don't stockpile weapons. I can tell you this as I never saw anyone with a weapon when I was in Scientology or on staff or in the Sea Org. That being said, I know the security forces do have access to weapons. I do know that. So I just don't call that, I don't consider that to be stockpiling weapons. But so yeah, that's my answer to the question. It's not like some weird, like I probably know private individuals who have personally owned more weapons than probably all Scientology security guards combined. So I don't consider it stockpiling. A buckled up buttercup. Is Claire not a declared suppressive person as well as Mark? Oh, she most certainly is. Constance June, well, they don't want the staff knowing how high up some of the people were. That's a good point. Might get them questioning why some of those people left. Very, very good point. Lowell Rigsium. I'm sure I'm messing that up. I can only imagine what OSA thinks of this. I mean, OSA is the one who compiles the local lists, so they know all about it. Jeff Price, gee, I wonder what all these former Scientologists protest against the organization. Could it be because Scientology is a crappy human trafficking cult? Chris S., you got to try and get some interviews with the people you don't know. That's not a bad idea. Uh-oh, we got AGP in the chat. Hey, how you doing, Don? Not only did they spell my name wrong, they got my TRO wrong. Wow, they spelled your name wrong? I mean, well, look, they got Spanky's entire page mixed up with Jesse Prince, and Jesse Prince didn't even have his own page. That doesn't make any sense. Auditing Scientology, KC. Oh, darn, I didn't make the list. Don't worry, Auditing Scientology, KC. I think you probably came on the scene more recently than this book. Oh, but that's true. You didn't make the TikToker list. But maybe that's because the TikToker list really did seem to be composed of people who also had TikTok accounts. Again, it's possible because you guys might remember when Jessica and Will first came on the scene. Was Will doing TikTok? I can't remember. Jessica for sure was primarily TikTok, and then she started YouTube. Guys, was Will ever on TikTok? Can you guys let me know in the live chat if anyone knows? Yeah, I just don't know. Corey L, thank you very much. Corey L, thank you very much again. Oh, same question. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it. Lori in Georgia, sounds really outdated. Well, it can't be really outdated, right? It does seem like it's about 2 years outdated, but 2 years outdated is pretty outdated. Mary James, yes, he was doing TikTok. Okay, good to know. Duchess Diana, what is a First Amendment auditor? Is that a channel? So First Amendment auditing is a whole genre of basically people testing whether police officers understand what is allowable under the law, what civil rights are permitted, what is constitutionally protected activity. So, for example, one First Amendment auditor channel that I can comment on, I don't remember the name of it, but there's a lot of them out there, but that I spend a lot of time watching. An example of what they might do is go into a city hall, just a city hall building, with a camera on their head and a camera on their chest and holding a camera, and just walk around filming and not harass anyone, not yell at anyone, not insult anyone, just walk around filming. Inevitably, what will happen is City Hall staff members will start freaking the hell out, and they will call the police. And the police will show up and ask the person to identify themselves and accuse them of all sorts of things, of harassing, or you can't film in here, or in other words, not understanding the law, not understanding that City Hall is a public space. It is not private property. You can film anywhere you want. It doesn't matter if, you can film wherever you want. And also independent journalism is a protected activity. And technically speaking, Scientology protesters are not First Amendment auditors, but there is some slight overlap. But so, for example, Denver J, I feel like what Denver J was doing in the beginning, when I first became aware of Denver J, that was more closely related to First Amendment auditing than what Scientology protesting is usually now. And so anyway, that's my answer for what is First Amendment auditing. Okay, Melphis Sky. I'm surprised that Matt Stone and Trey Parker aren't on the list. That's a good point. That's right. If Alex Gibney's on the list, why aren't the South Park guys? Laura NP, either it's the age of the list or Scientology doesn't want the holders of the list to know exactly how many of us are against them. A lot more than what they have listed. For sure. I agree with that. Josh, Twin Cities Org blocked me from their Facebook page. Congratulations. You're on your own little version of the Rogues Gallery then. Just a Northern Girl. I love that you're contacted by all these under the radars. With so many of them out there now, you must be so much busier now than you have ever been. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Dave Owens, they should be more afraid of the under the radars. Oh, believe me, they are so afraid and paranoid of the under the radars. It's also one of the reasons that I like putting out information here and there, is to get the witch hunts going, because the internal witch hunts drive more people out of Scientology than almost anything else. Yeah. Okay. Sharon Rose. I can't wait for the day Tiny Davy pays the piper and ends up in jail, and the IRS finally takes away their tax-exempt status. It's coming. Maybe this will be the year. Well, I'd like to manage expectations. This will definitely not be the year. I don't get political, but I'm probably going to do a short little video about this later. You just in the last few days had the president-elect personally and publicly thanking the biggest donor to Scientology, Trish Duggan. You literally had Donald Trump on stage behind the podium at a live event personally thanking Trish Duggan. Trish Duggan donated at least $5 million to his campaign. but Trish and her ex-husband, Bob Duggan, have donated over $350 million to David Miscavige and Scientology. So all I'm saying is that when the wealthiest Scientologist in the world is also being personally thanked by the incoming president, the chance of Scientology being prosecuted in the next 4 years, nope. Not to mention Grant Cardone, but he's really more of a hanger on. Like Grant Cardone is pays to get Donald Trump to pay any attention to him. And I guess you could say that Trish Duggan is as well. But Grant Cardone is really a little more desperate and pathetic in his attempts to get any recognition from the incoming administration. I think Trish Duggan actually has the attention of the incoming administration. So no matter what you think about either party or anything like that, it really doesn't matter. All I'm talking about here is when you have the richest Scientologist in the world being personally thanked by the incoming president. Let's not pretend like Scientology is going to be prosecuted in the next 4 years. But that's what we're here, folks. That's what we're here for, folks. We are here to keep people from getting into Scientology. We're here to help people who are leaving Scientology. And we're here to get out the message as often as we can, as far and wide as we can, that Scientology is a multi-billion-dollar international family-destroying human trafficking cult, and you'd have to be out of your ever-loving mind to have anything to do with it. All right, guys, let's see what else. Okay, we got a few more here. Where'd it go? All right, here we are. I ain't say that, one of my favorite screen names. Stone and Parker are second only to the internet in ruining Scientology. LOPNC1, Susie wants to know if she's on the list. Susie is LOPNC1's body thetan. And so she is on the list in spirit. Cardone does seem desperate lately. He most certainly does. And KA, but does he know they are Scientologists? That's a good question. I honestly don't know. I can tell you this. Joy Villa was Scientology's first attempt to infiltrate the inner sanctum of the Republican Party and disseminate Scientology. I can tell you from personal contacts that I cannot mention, Joy Villa absolutely destroyed the name of Scientology within the inner sanctum of the Republican Party. I have that from a source you guys wouldn't even believe. So, so it's not that I think Grant Cardone or Trish Duggan are going to succeed in like converting anyone to Scientology. It's just like if Scientology were to, and I guess if we're talking about state prosecutions, no, because even at the state level, those are federal. I'm still thinking of when I say state prosecution, I'm actually referring to things I'm aware of that are actually federal prosecutors assigned to districts within states. If Scientology were to actually come under federal heat in the next 4 years, do we not think that the richest Scientologist in the world would maybe be able to get something done about that? I feel like Trish Duggan would be able to get something done about that. Now, I could be wrong. Let me know what you guys think. Particularly you guys who are, well, see, I try not to get political. But, okay, how about this? For any of you out there who are horrifically offended at the implication that the Trump administration would intervene on Scientology prosecution because of someone like Trish Duggan, let me know why you think Trish and her money wouldn't matter. Let me know in the live chat or in the comments section. Well, I'm going to end the video, so do it in the comment section. Why do you think the money wouldn't matter in that case? Picking a fight with Scientology for any politician is a big, big, big decision. It's a decision that might affect you for the rest of your life. And especially when Scientology is so small. And even organizationally speaking, let's say they have $3, $4, $5 billion. Relatively speaking, guys, that's not a lot of money. It's a lot of money for me and you. It's not a lot of money when you start talking about corporations or other religious movements or the IRS annual budget. And keep in mind, I realize I might right now be conflating prosecuting Scientology with taking away Scientology's tax-exempt status. But to me, these two things sort of belong in the same conversation. It's sort of the same conversation, but they definitely are different conversations. We are much more likely to see Scientology prosecuted in the next 5 years than we are to see Scientology lose its tax exemption in the next 5 years. So if we stick to just talking about Scientology being federally prosecuted, well, guys, just let me know in the comment section. Knowing that Scientology's biggest donor is actually one of Donald Trump's biggest donors, let me know what you think. Would that relationship actually affect, in your opinion, Scientology being federally prosecuted in the next 4 years? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Okay, let's see what else we have. Twi'lek says Scientology is dead. The cult is just misguided leaders now. It should just dissolve itself now. Not quite there, but I appreciate it. Trisha Joe, what? No, Jenna. Not going to have a Miscavige on that list. Well, I do think, yeah. I mean, Jenna started her channel. You're right. No, before Jenna started her channel, she'd actually been out of the scene for a whole number of years. So it doesn't surprise me that Jenna's not on the list. Jeff Price, Trump should ask Cardone and Duggan why they give more money to Scientology than they give to his campaign. There you go. All right, guys, this has been a blast. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe